I bet you didn't expect this. It's time for me to finally give you a taste of my biggest obsession. How to Train Your Dragon. It's been my favorite franchise for ages, and it's been long overdue. And to start off a series of explaining every dragon in How to Train Your Dragon and beyond, I am gonna explain every dragon in the Strike class. The Strike class is home of incredibly fast dragons. They are often highly intelligent, with strong jaws, making them fierce strategic fighters. Some of them possess a high accuracy with their strikes, alongside a dark coloring, making them able to shoot out from the dark, strike fast and disappear again. They are usually strong fighters with high and acute senses, making them even fiercer predators. The most well-known example of the Strike class is the Night Fury, the unholy offspring of lightning and death itself. Their black hide makes them excellent at hiding in the night. Their incredible speed is said to be the fastest in the flying dragon world. Those qualities combine to make them excellent surprise attackers. They are also excellent at swooping down and acting as dive bombers, because as fast as they appear, they are gone again. But not without leaving devastation, with their incredibly accurate plasma blasts, of course. They have a recorded length of 8 meters and wingspan of 14 meters, putting them at the high end for the Strike class dragons. Their natural defenses are mostly their speed, making them difficult to hit. Their incredible camouflage at night, which has the same effect. We used to think that their weakness was that their camouflage works against them during the day, making them prime targets. But recently it was discovered that they can channel the energy of lightning, absorbing it from the air in thunderstorms like their cousins the Skrills. They use it to make their scales reflective. This makes them practically invisible, even at the brightest day. Something else that was only recently discovered is their ability to split their dorsal plates into two, allowing for even tighter turns. They already have a strong maneuverability, thanks to their tail fins, but this improved it even further. Every weakness this dragon was thought to have disappeared as more was discovered, and this doesn't even include their potential to become alphas. Toothless became an alpha after successfully challenging Drago's Bewilderbeast, giving him power over all dragons, as well as a blue light that seemingly comes from within his body. This implies a sort of awakening of his plasma blast, making him even stronger. The land movements are very reminiscent of cats, which is reflected in their cat-like green eyes. Their general demeanor is more similar to dogs. In the end, dragons are just like any other pet. If any other pet could carry multiple 100 kilos of Vikings between Hiccup and Stoic. That strength comes into play when they move into close combat. With their tail they can sweep away opponents and use their big wings to protect themselves and others. Their loyalty also can't be overstated. If you befriend one, they'll do everything to protect you. They are mostly out at night. For that, they developed a way of echolocation akin to bats. The bat likeness can also be seen in the way they sleep. Toothless has been seen hanging from a ceiling or a tree to sleep, as well as sleeping on a heated up slab of stone. This reveals the weakness of the Night Fury. It can't survive in cold environments for a long time. This isn't the only weakness that Grimmel mentioned. He also disclosed that they aren't built for long flights and need to take frequent breaks. But the most important weakness we see is the reliance on the tail fin. Toothless is shown to be unable to fly without that fin, and without Hiccup, he would have succumbed to nature. Night Furies are strong, fast and smart, and definitely a force to be reckoned with. A well-deserved face of the Strike class. The clear counterpart of the Night Fury is the Light Fury. This beautifully sleek dragon moves gracefully through the sky. Other than the yin side, the yang side of this dragon pair is white as snow, with eyes like blue jewels. They are also missing the back fins on their spines, of their stronger pigmented partners. Their size is about the same, but not their powers. They shed a plasma blast, but instead of having it as just an attack, the Light Fury uses it to turn themselves invisible. Simply flying through it causes their scales to heat up, making them reflective like mirrors, basically turning them invisible. We know surprisingly little about them aside from that. They are very sensitive, as seen when she flies away from Toothless when he makes even the slightest misstep. But also playfully curious, not being put off by Toothless' unique displays of affection. Well, she was put off, but she was curious enough to stay and observe regardless. Same as most dragons of the Strike class, Light Furies are very intelligent and proud, as well as strong in fight. They can easily carry humans around and outsmart many other dragons, using their well-honed senses. And their stealth, which is just amplified by their camouflage. Their white scales make them more visible at night at first glance, but at the same time less detectable by day. Neither of these facts matter in the end though, with their main camo ability, but it's still an important aspect of their appearance as a contrast to the Night Fury's black. It has been pointed out that the Light Fury is a subspecies of the Night Fury, enabling them to breed, despite their strong visual differences. This can make us assume that they also share most of their other abilities, like their echolocation, even if we have not seen it in use. The union of the Night Fury and the Light Fury makes the nightlights. Not much is known about these creatures as they have only recently appeared, after Toothless mated with the Light Fury. The Dragon Riders were the ones who, after a discussion, came up with the name Nightlights. At first glance, you'd think they would have a disadvantage over their father, with their wide height, but luckily, they inherited an important skill from their mother. They can fly through their own fire to use the heat to reflect their environment, rendering them invisible. Something else they inherited from their parents is their speed. When fully grown, they won't lag behind the Night or Light Fury. Their size will rival their parents as well. A difference to their parents are their electrical abilities. While the Night Fury was shown to be able to harness outside electricity, the Nightlights can create their own, similar to the Skrill, giving them a uniquely charged plasma blast. They can also release a strong burst of electricity, similar to an electromagnetic pulse, rendering electronic devices useless. While this wasn't an issue in the Age of Vikings, it's a big security threat in modern times. There's still a lot we don't know about the species, and we can only hope to learn more in a more acceptable manner than so far in the future. A strong adversary to the dragons discussed so far is the Death Gripper. Grimmel the Grizzly used them to wipe out almost the entire Night Fury population, and for good reason. They are known to be one of the most dangerous dragon species out there. They have giant tusks, claws that work similar to crab claws, and a giant stinger at the end of their tail. The tusks are retractable, making them a good surprise attack when impaling enemies with them. All these weapons make them fierce fighters, even without their biggest advantage, their poison. It has a lot of different uses. Varying the dosage can cause it so that the first only stuns their opponent, and the second one kills. Sometimes they add a third, poisoning the victim so badly that anyone who touches it gets poisoned themselves. Grimmel found another use for it. When distilled, it can be used to take control of other dragons, even getting past an alpha's control. They really ooze poisoned acid. Their ranged attack is an acid shot, reminiscent of the Change Ring, that we honestly don't see much of. What we see a lot is their incredible strength and stamina. They have been seen carrying Grimmel's airship and took plasma blasts from Toothless with relative ease. Even in small groups, they can overpower multiple other dragons and riders. That explains why Grimmel chose them. They combine utility with generally good base strength, perfect for hunting other dragons. The Night Fury is often described as the unholy offspring of lightning and death itself, but since their connection to lightning has only recently been discovered, it was theorized that the Skrill is the dragon more deserving of their title. This fearsome beast attacks with such lightning blasts. Their scales are black with purple accents, which symbolizes their connection to lightning, and is seen actually lighting up when this dragon charges up inside of thunderstorms. They are very rare creatures, and due to their affinity for these storms, even rarer observed. Inside these storms, they can not only charge up, but also travel along the lightning strikes. Their biggest weakness, however, is water. When standing in water, they can use their lightning and risk of short-circuiting and hurting themselves. A unique ability of this dragon is to be able to stay alive frozen inside ice. And when it's thawed, its biology makes it possible to immediately go full throttle again, charged up and ready to destroy. It can't only use these as straight-up bolts, but is also seen to release shockwaves in the form of an electrical field. Their abilities are also able to completely disable another dragon's fire. The Singe-tail is another really strong dragon, but the lightning bolts of the Skrill are their weakness, making them the perfect prey for the Skrill's hunt. If the Night Fury wasn't the icon he is, the senses, intelligence, and skill of the Skrill would make it the perfect representation of the strike class. It is also to be argued that they are related to the Night Fury somehow, seen as they have very similar abilities in some aspects. The Triple Strike is exactly what the name suggests. They have a tail that can split into 3 separate stingers. They use them to quickly hit their opponents, poisoning them in the process. Their giant claws and fighting tactic makes them very resemblant of a scorpion, combined with a rattlesnake, with their tail sounds when they are trying to intimidate their opponent. And for good reason. Every tail has a different venom. One tail paralyzes the victim, the next causes hallucinations, and the third causes intense pain, making the triple strike a triple threat. Back to the rattling sound. When trying to tame a triple strike, a rider should attempt to replicate the sound. This calms them down and makes it easier to get close. Dragon riders still need to be careful, since overall, triple strikes are known to be very aggressive and easily riled up. So better have a rattle ready, if you don't want to get stung. One thing I haven't mentioned is their fire. They have a bright orange beam of fire, making them able to defend themselves in the air too. Their strength still lies in close quarters combat, which is why it was the perfect champion for the Dragon Hunter's arena, even using their tail to grab their opponents, further proving their strength. The last major strike class dragon on the list, and a once again very dangerous one, is the Snow Wraith. They have snow white skin, which they use to blend into the icy mountain regions they inhabit. They move like ghosts, almost undetectable, only coming out of hiding during snowstorms, striking their prey fast and unseen. They have very bad eyesight, but make up for it with a kind of infrared vision that enables them to see their prey's body heat, even in the strongest of storms. This, however, can be used to deceive them and distract them, with, for example, Dragon Fire. Their own stealth is one of the strongest in the entire strike class, but only in snow. If this dragon ever got out of their natural habitat, it would be easy picking for any other dragon. Their fire is something called Frost Fusillade, also known as Ice Blasts, giving them a cold addition to their already cold environment. They are social creatures and live in packs, especially during the summer, where they hibernate. But this is also their weakness. They can easily be taken out during hibernation, which is why they usually do it inside glaciers to be protected. When alone, these dragons rely on their stealth, but as soon as that's broken, they aren't the strongest fighters on their own. A Night Fury can, for example, use its echolocation to detect them, even in a whiteout, and then use its strong plasma blasts to take them out. They are stealthy and sneaking predators. When hunting, they hide in the snowstorms and burrow through the snow, so you can never know from what direction they are gonna strike next. What they are most known for at this point is that their teeth are the key for the Dragon Eye. And with that, we went through every major strike class dragon we see in the shows and movies. There are always more you could find in the games, but these are the ones we have a decent amount of knowledge about. I decided to try and only give you the interesting parts, instead of stats. Even if I could have just listed down the dragon data, we get in several different side pieces to the released media. But what do you think? Are there any non-show or movie media dragons that you think should have been talked about? Which class would you want me to cover next? If you even wanted to see more dragon stuff, let me know. Join my Discord and discuss some more. Thanks to my supporters, especially to my Alicorn Tier supporters, Princess, who wants me to say, reunite the Star Scouts, and Subtle Spectrum, whose message is, Pistachio's best pony, as well as Maverick. And until next time, riders, into the great beyond.